Now that CSGO is over and CSGO 2 is coming out, we're going to investigate the age-old debate about Gla1ve and Karrigan to find out who's the best IGL in Denmark. One thing is for sure, even though that is up for debate, one thing that's not up for debate is Danish headphone company AceZone, who make the best headphones ever. Take it from me, I use Sennheiser, Super X, and Logitech G Spot, and all of those headphones don't compare to AceZone's quality and performance. All-day wearability comfort, 270 grams, and even Don Haji likes them. The thing is that Gla1ve is really good. I think he's the best. If you ask me, the best major of all time was the one that Gla1ve won at E-League Atlanta 2017. Who was there? Check out this comeback. 13-7 down, Gla1ve decides, listen, I'm tired of coming in quarterfinals, semifinals, finishes. They make a comeback. And what's ridiculous is before this event, Karrigan is the IGL for Astralis, and they can't do the thing Gla1ve just did to get the major win. And then Karrigan goes 2018 after he gets cut from Astralis. Gla1ve takes over, wins major. Karrigan says, no, I'm the GOAT. And then he puts together 2018 FaZe, number 2 ranked in the world, going into the Boston major to make it to the grand finals, to lose to the greatest major run in history, Cloud9. The problem is that this is a great run from both teams, but for FaZe, it is pretty tragic. I always remember this Kanye quote. It goes, it's hard to be humble when you're stunting on a Jumbotron. And I always remember Nico with the confetti on his face on the big screen when Cloud9 won. And then after this, Nico said, Karrigan, I don't trust you, man. And then Karrigan got cut from the team. They didn't win the major. The team disbanded. Guardian goes on to never win a major in CSGO. Olaf doesn't win a major after Fnatic. Rain doesn't get his major until 2022, where Karrigan gets it together. I'm going to give him some credit here, okay? Because in the beginning, Karrigan was the choker. Karrigan was the reason that the TSM Astralis lineup with Device on it and everyone's so good, they can't do it. Karrigan is a story that we can all get behind, you know? Most people who play CSGO are bad. We are bad, right? There's no beating the noob allegations, okay? No matter who you are, no matter how good you get, no matter how much you win, somebody thinks you're bad. And that should be motivation. Karrigan, after years of being called bad individually, not getting it together as an IGL, watching Gla1ve succeed him on his roster that he founded, Karrigan says, I'm tired of this. Watch this round.
Karrigan, trigger happy. It's Brokey. Zorb that manages to find something, but already he's been silenced. Na'Vi's trades are so strong. Gets the bomb, gets 2 again. Karrigan does not surrender. And Simple's got 2. And the end of the game, we go again.
Okay, so Antwerp, photo finish here for FaZe, and they beat Na'Vi. It's really beautiful, honestly. Holy crap, if this was 2018, this is where Karrigan would fail, not only as an IGL, but as an individual. Mentally, he would just fall apart. Seriously, he figured it out after all the losses. For him to survive being a noob into coming back later in his career with another lineup that doesn't have Nico on it, who was the ultimate star player on his team, and to win 2022, you know, that's incredible. And everyone's like, all right, he doesn't have 4 majors, so, but he's probably still the GOAT because comeback story, longevity, he has that in the bag, multiple lineups. But the thing is, if we talk about multiple lineups, we also talk about the fact that Karrigan's played with some of the best players of all time, okay? And I think this kind of counts against him, right? Because when we talk about Gla1ve, we say, ooh, he did it, but he did it with Device and Xyp9x and Dupree alongside him, and then Magis Kirby and different fifths, whatever. And well, he didn't prove that he could do it with multiple lineups, but they did it with that lineup. They got an era. Then they also got all these trophies. They had 4 major victories, plus they had map records that unbeaten on multiple maps. Also, the influence from Gla1ve in this period of time was such that everybody was copying his style. Could you reduce Astralis 2018 to one factor? No, you couldn't do that. If you ask somebody that talks about they played against Astralis, what are they going to say? They're going to say they had the best punish game. They had the best rotations. They had the best utility, and everybody followed to play like Astralis. Everyone's favorite IGL was Gla1ve, and everyone wanted to play like Astralis because their style looked very replicable. Listen, Gla1ve was top 6 in the world in 2018, so as an individual, he was an amazing rifler as well, but across the team, there was no like JW, you know what I mean? Like there was no Fallen who would take the ultra deep angle, super risky op. Like Device was just kind of middle of the pack, aggressive, passive, like not really. You looked at them and you thought, I could be like that, you know? It's like you watch Curry shoot threes and you're like, I'm short, maybe I can be in the NBA. And when you watch Astralis play, you saw a team that they thought about how to play this game as a team, and their style was one that everybody who ops, they all said they watched Device demos. They said, don't watch Simple because you're not hitting that shot, but you can watch Device and learn, because positionally, because rotations wise, and because utility wise, Astralis did so many things so well that everyone tried to copy their style. And I think that's another argument in favor of Gla1ve against Karrigan, because in terms of cultural influence, I think he's sort of a monolith in the way that nobody's copied any single way that Karrigan's called in specific. I think if I were to define the thing that Astralis changed the meta with, it was HEs. What is the HE of Karrigan's calling? Well, I think that he has had some very famous calls. We have the Canada call with Twist. Everybody remembers that.
Twists, what is this? This is so smooth, so aggressive, unchecked, unscathed, into the sight, FaZe, knock him for 6! Na'Vi evaporate!
He always has this call, you know, between like round 26 and round 30 that's so masterful, so detailed, and it builds on all the patterns from the whole game leading up to that moment in a way that very few other IGLs can do. And that's why when you talk about eye test between Gla1ve and Karrigan, they both have moments where you can see they're absolutely unbelievable callers. Now, the unfortunate part for Gla1ve is that everyone thinks he's dead now because he's getting cut from Astralis, and it looks like he's kind of phoning it in with the way that he's playing and the way that he's calling. I'm really not huge on that, but I'm also not huge on recency bias, and there was no one that up until that point that like they just said like you can't win. You know, when Astralis entered a tournament, it was over. They won 3 majors in a row from 2018 to 2019. Face it, Cato, Berlin, they were the best team. They couldn't be beaten. It was boring, even for me to watch, because I knew it was over. There was nothing like that except when you go back to like Fnatic, where they were so scary. You had to have JW, you had to have Olaf's aggression, you had to have Flesh's unique mind for the game in the clutch, you had to have Pronax with that, you know, secret YouTube channel with all the utility and boosts and everything. But, you know, Karrigan never really had that. And I just got to say, like, you know, you got a team like 2018 Astralis. He won with Kirby, then they replaced him. They won with Magisk after that, and then keep that going for as long as he wanted to stay and win 3 majors. I mean, why would you make a roster move if everything was going well? And I think that's just an important point, that we like to romanticize the idea that you can win with all these different lineups. And that does say a lot about you. But at the same time, you know, there's not a lot to be said about who keeps a team together and who's able to win with the same lineup, which is almost difficult in a different way, because you've got to continuously be at the top, which some say is as hard as getting to the top. So with Karrigan, he's never had to defend an era. I think it's fair to say, though, it's been harder and harder to get one, though. You know, there's enough percentages available left in CSGO to stay that far ahead of everyone else. It does feel like people are getting more competitive. We saw the Blast Paris Major, how many upsets there were. Karrigan, he's won multiple S-tier events with stand-ins. He won with Chromin, he won with Exist, he won with JKS, and he also won at Summit with with Mouse Sports. But the thing that people forget about that was actually Karrigan, even though they had NATO Sapphix in, actually had to leave for the airport, and they won the finals without him versus G2 somehow. I don't know. So he's so good at winning with standings that he doesn't even need to be there. The ultimate substitute teacher. I don't even know what to say about that one, but he's very adaptable, and that is his career, is having insanely good adaptability. But not having defended an era, not getting, you know, the multiple majors, being a person who spent a lot of his career actually choking and losing out with a team that was clearly good enough, these things count against him. And we got to talk about the fact that, like, FaZe, they just squeaked out their Intel Grand Slam, but they got to the LCQ at the Paris Major. They were given the LCQ spot because North America is so weak that we gave up a spot in the RMR, and that was the only reason FaZe even got a chance to make it into top 8. Then they lose to Heroic in the quarters. Very hard rub up until until that point, but they really made their own bed. And then we look at the fact that back at Rio, they got to the legend spot, didn't win a map except for one versus B&E. So this has been a very, very bad period of time for FaZe Clan. I think a lot of people would say that Karrigan's calling definitely doesn't look that good recently, and he's played with so many of the best players of all time. He's probably the IGL who has played with the most best players of all time, in fact. And it's just like, literally, what more could you ask for? So clearly, if he was in the same mental space in 2022 as he was in 2018, as he kind of directly said in an interview, there was plenty more time to prove how much he could do as a player. But that is part of what makes his career, the fact that it took him a long time to overcome the choking, and he's actually ending on sort of a solid note. So, you know, there's maybe no one who makes a better round 29 call up until this day that Karrigan does. Maybe he doesn't have that total influence over the meta and everything like that, but it's even more impressive almost that he overcame some of his early choking in his career. But Gla1ve, as much as he's fallen off recently, as a caller, I can point to amazingly well called rounds. And by far my favorite half of any major final was the Virtus Pro comeback for Astralis. With Gla1ve, I think that really spoke volumes about the kind of person he was ready to be to win and put Denmark on the map, and he's the one who really did that. But yeah, listen, it's tough out there for anybody who's not Danish. You've got Snappy, Karrigan, Gla1ve, Karrigan. The callers are unbelievable from that part of the world. I wanted to do this one to talk about this debate because I think it's kind of fun too. If you've got something for me, let me know who you think is the better caller. I know the comments are going to be extremely amicable and friendly and affable. Everybody's going to be chummy down there. I know you guys are going to have so much fun debating in a friendly manner. Don't let me down, guys. I want to hear it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching. And remember, you always have enough money for a deagle.